Today we are going to talk about the new head man at Kansas State and why the vitriol toward him is completely unfounded, and all that's coming up after the bumper.
What do you mean you don't subscribe to my son's YouTube channel?
Mama, no!
Just snap the damn ball, RJ.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always OU related, college football related, sports related. We have a good time. And today, man, I thought about this for a bit. It's like, do I need to make this upload? Do I need to do... Yes, I absolutely need to do this because Kansas State, Purple Aggies, chill. Calm down, man. Now, let me back up and give everybody the 411 like we do. So, Bill Snyder decided again to retire again after what many folks believe was an up and down season, and some would say was just more fuel for the fire that Bill Snyder is no longer the guy to lead the Kansas State Wildcats. That said, the stadium still bears his name, and Kansas State will always be indebted to Bill Snyder and what he did for that university. I mean, it's past that Kansas State was bad at football. It was at a point to where many folks wondered if you needed the football team at all. It was where the guys that wore their letter jackets in the late 80s to class were continually shamed and told, please, stop embarrassing us. And then Bill Snyder shows up, you get a losing season, and then all of a sudden, he builds this thing, man. With baling wire and 2x4s, he put together a winning football team at Kansas State, and in some years, got absolutely on top of the Big 12 Conference and on top of Oklahoma. Without him, you don't have guys like Darren Sproles, who I believe is the best Wildcat of all time. You don't get L. Roberson, you don't get these magical seasons, and you certainly don't get Darren Sproles just ruining Oklahoma's year for the Big 12 Championship. I was still in high school then, but it hurt. You know what I mean? And I know there's a lot of folks that will always believe that Darren Sproles is the dude for which they hate the most. And that's on top of Tavon Austin and rushing for 17 yards, carried 300 yards on the ground, 2012 against Mike Stoops' defense. I will never forget that. That was the day for which Tavon Austin was like, nah, I can be running back, I can be wide receiver. It doesn't matter if it's Oklahoma's defense. Seriously, probably got into the league alone on what he was doing to Oklahoma in the ground game. But I digress. Point is, Bill Snyder steps down, you have a coaching search. There's a lot of us, myself included, who thought they should throw the piggy bank at Seth Luttrell down there at North Texas. And it turns out, Gene Taylor, athletic director at Kansas State, he was thinking that way too. So you go to Seth Luttrell, you offer him the job, and Seth Luttrell says, yeah, I'll take the job, I just want to bring my staff with me, and you said no. To which we all started to scratch our heads and go, did you learn nothing, Kansas State? Did you learn nothing at all about Ron Prince? Did you learn nothing at all about how the only time Bill Snyder was actually wanting to step down was so that his son could run the thing, and that just wasn't going to happen. And yet, it seemed that Bill Snyder wanted to retire in such a way that Zombie Snyder was going to be still calling the shots. I think Bill Snyder could end up being the athletic director at Kansas State if he outlives everybody, and since he's done that so far, it's still on the cards. But Seth Luttrell says, nah, you know what? I'll stay in North Texas. I got a good thing going here. I get Mason Fine for another year at quarterback. So, you continue to throw names out there about who would take this really terrible job in Manhattan, Kansas. Honestly, it's a very difficult place to win football games. It might be the toughest job in all of FBS to win football games because it's just not a sexy place to go to. You can't recruit there. You have to have lots of money to pay great assistant coaches to stay there. I mean, it's just hard, right? So then you shock everybody by going to get Chris Klieman. And Chris Klieman is an outstanding football coach. He comes from North Dakota State. He has won 3 national championships in the past 5 years. His North Dakota State Bison are 13-0 after demolishing Colgate. And this is a guy who's lost all of 6 games in 5 years. He's 67-6. Come on, man. So you got a guy who's won national titles, who's built things from the ground up and put lots of awesome football. It's not high flying. It is not going to impress anybody from the standpoint of, oh, that's fun to watch. No, they impress people by just winning football games in Fargo, North Dakota. You know what it's like to try to recruit to Fargo? No, none of you do, including the guys in Manhattan. But it is as close as you're gonna get to have a coach who wants the job at Manhattan, who knows how to recruit to Manhattan because he recruited to Fargo. You know anybody else that's been to Fargo? No, you don't. That's kind of my point here. So for you to be losing your mind over Chris Klieman as the next head coach at Kansas State is bonkers, especially when you take into account the man's dream job is Kansas State. He put that on record. He said, look, it's not just that it's a dream job. It's that I grew up going to Bill Snyder camps when I was in Waterloo, Iowa. It's that I revere the man for years. It's that I was ecstatic to play against him when I was at Northern Iowa. It's that this is the kind of program for which I always envisioned myself running. And yet that's the guy that you want to throw shade at? The guy that has lost 6 games in 5 years, the guy that grew up worshiping Bill Snyder, that's the guy for which you're going to lose your mind for. Who do you think you were going to get? Cliff Kingsbury? Please. He's not coming to Manhattan. Who do you think you were going to get? Honestly. Tosh LaPoy at Alabama? No. Not coming to Kansas State. Who do you think you were going to get? I'm serious about this. Like, I don't understand. If you're a Kansas State alum and you die with the Wildcats, as a Purple Aggie, this is your guy. This is the guy you would want to coach you for as long as he wants to and as long as he can win games. That's the only time you get to be mad at Chris Klieman is if he can't win games. And since the only person that could win games as Bill Snyder, you should take what you can get. And what you got is one of the best coaches in all of college football at any level. Get some act right. All right, that's it for me. Deuces.